Okay, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Stephanie Gellman. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Stephanie Gellman, Product Manager Online Leads with Royal LePage Canada. And I'm joined today by Brett Kay with Inside Real Estate. Hi, Brett.
Hi, Stephanie. Hi, everyone out there. Glad to be here. Thanks for having us. Really looking forward to it.
It's going to be a good one. So for today's session, I'll be leading most of the session. Brett's going to be here for technical help in case you guys send me some tough questions, because, you know, Brett knows this system inside and out. Being an experienced trainer with lots of pressure, because he's an experienced trainer with Inside Real Estate, as well as a real estate agent himself. So Brett understands what it's like in the real world actually using the campaigns, which is, you know, a really great thing for him.
They are, and they're great for all of us now, because folks, if you've been on any of my classes, you know I like to say, if you're not following up with them, someone else is. You have these built for you, so let's turn these on. Get following up.
Yeah.
Thanks, Stephanie.
All right. So some logistics, right? So we have a chat function that you'll see on the bottom of your screen. Make sure that you set your chat to all attendees and panelists. Say hi, tell us where you're joining us from, okay? We'd love to know who's out there. Okay, let's see what else. Please remember, chat is for chatting and Q&A is for questions, okay? I will not be looking in the chat for questions, and I will be saving Q&A to the end of this presentation. And the reason for that is we often find that we will answer the questions as we present. So keep that in mind. Nevertheless, I do have Brett helping. He's going to keep an eye on Q&A in case there's some questions he can answer, you know, typing them as we go along, as well as I have Kelly McCain helping to moderate the chat. So we got a lot of people here. Yeah. All right. Finally, I will be emailing you a recording of this tomorrow, as well as a copy of the slides. All right. So you're going to be all set. All right. Let's get into this. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, I'm going to be going over general information about what smart campaigns are, including what they contain and how they work. Then we're going to explain the custom Royal LePage campaigns created especially for you, including campaigns for online consumer leads, as well as campaigns for your contacts. Okay, then we're going to go live into rlpSPHERE. This is where Brett's going to jump in. He's going to show you where to find the campaigns, how to apply, and how to apply and remove campaigns from your contacts. All right. I want to remind everyone, this is an introductory session, okay? So what that means is we're not going to be getting into deep details about how to edit and create campaigns. This is really just to understand what these things are, right? So next month, and the dates to be finalized, we're going to do kind of a part 2, okay? Where we're going to talk about how to edit and create. But right now, today is just about understanding stuff. So to start, let's just remind you some general info we already know about online leads. So we know that 92% of buyers search for a home online, and these people spend like 4 months on average shopping for a home. Sellers spend about 5 months, okay? So we know that online leads can take some time. What else do we know about them? Well, we know that you're 100 times more likely to contact your leads if you respond within 5 minutes versus 30 minutes. The reason for this is that we know that people are impatient and they'll often fill out multiple forms, waiting for someone to answer them. So it is so valuable to be the first person who replies, the first agent. And nevertheless, 48% of all online leads are not responded to at all. And the average response time for the ones that are responded to is 15 hours. Now, we've got your back with the campaigns we've created for your Royal LePage online leads, and really any other online leads that you want to use the campaigns for. So there's a built-in auto response, which sends a message to your leads moments after they submit a form. And what this is gonna do is this gives you time, it buys you time to craft a custom response to their inquiry. So we'll get into those details later. Okay, what else do we know about leads? Well, they need to be contacted more. More touches equals more success. So most agents only make like 1.5 outreach attempts if they actually reply to the leads at all. So persistence is incredibly important when it comes to optimizing your lead conversion. Nevertheless, we understand how it can be difficult to persist with a lead who does not respond. That's why we've created our smart campaigns, because they will help you persist with unresponsive leads. They continue for 6 months with minimal work on your part. So what will this result in? Well, we're hoping that it's going to result, we're very confident that it's going to result in higher close rates, because we know that the average close rate for online leads is 1%. Now, why is it 1%? Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the things that I just talked about, that a lot of the leads aren't answered. A lot of the leads are answered slowly, and agents don't persist with enough contact attempts. But we know well-managed leads are going to close 4 to 6% or sometimes even higher. All right. So rlpSPHERE and its smart campaigns, it really is a lead conversion system based on best practices. And using these campaigns will help you engage your leads with valuable information while tasking you to convert through follow-up. These are CASEL compliant smart campaigns consisting of touches lasting 6 months, and they include emails, texts, and phone calls. And like I said, over 90% of which are automated. So let's get into the details, right? Okay, because I know you're itching. You want to know more about what's going on. What are these things? Yeah, so smart campaign. What is a smart campaign? Well, really, you can think of it as a mix of action plans plus drip campaigns. So these are things that we're used to. We used them in Smart Studio in the past. Yeah, so we want to think of smart campaigns as a mix of action plans and drips. And the basic building blocks of smart campaigns are settings and actions. Settings are start triggers. Settings can also include things like if a plan is mandated, who the plan is designed for, etc., etc. And actions are the things that happen in the plan, whether it is things that happen by the system or tasks for you to complete. So we'll get into more details in a second, but I just want you to remember these building blocks, okay? Settings plus actions. So where to find them, where to find them. So you're gonna find the RLP designed campaigns in your rlpSPHERE under Marketing Autopilot, Smart Campaigns, My Library. Now I know that at the moment right now we're going through some transition, right? So we just launched the system. There may be things that are missing in yours right now. Don't panic, because we're still working on moving stuff over, okay? So if you don't see everything, that's okay. It's coming along. Okay, so more about the campaigns that we made. Well, we made a lot of different campaigns, and I just want to warn you, I want to remind you why you want to look in My Library and not the other one. There are system campaigns available by KV Core, and we love them. KV Core is awesome, but we don't recommend that you use those, and the reason for that is they're not CASEL compliant. They are made for American audiences, nor do they have Royal LePage branding. So what we suggest you do is you can have a look at them if you want to consult those for ideas, but quite frankly, I've already done that work for you, so you don't need to do that. We've done that work. We've made Royal LePage versions of most of the KV Core system campaigns, as well as ones that we have created ourselves, so you don't have to do that work. All right. Okay, so more detail, what kind of campaigns did we make? Some of the campaigns are going to be ones that are automatically applied to your contacts, and they will start working automatically without you needing to do anything. And I'll tell you which ones those are soon. I know you're itching to find out. And then there's other ones that you will manually apply to your contacts depending on what the campaigns are. Okay, so let's get into that detail. Okay, first off, we have some nice simple contact touch-based campaigns. And really what these are system tasks to remind you to reach out to your contacts or update their statuses accordingly. So this is a weekly reminder from the system to you. And yeah, and it just really helps you to remember to engage with your database. These plans will be automatically applied starting on June 23 without you needing to do anything. So these will be applied to your contacts. You'll get a, now Brett, correct me if I'm wrong, because you know the system better than me. With these tasks, you get a daily task list, correct? That says, you know, call Stephanie, call Brett, that kind of thing?
That is correct, Stephanie, and you get it in an email daily, and it will include your calls and tasks, and you can also see it on your main dashboard, and I'll show you where that is here in a bit. So there's a few places that you can see them real quick, but even if you don't log in, we're going to email you. So yeah.
Awesome, perfect. So as I said, these are going to be automatically applied starting next week. Now you do have the option to turn them off. So, you know, don't worry, you can turn them off if you do not find them helpful, but we highly recommend that you follow them because it's really important to stay in contact with your database. Okay, what else did we make for you? Our wonderful marketing department, you know and love these pieces, I'm sure, because you had them available in Smart Studio. These are our buyer and seller pieces. So these are our nurturing motivation campaigns. Okay, so what do you want to know about these ones? These ones are not automatically applied. These ones are ones that you will manually apply to your contacts, and Brett's going to show us how to do that. You're going to manually apply them based on, well, what you see appropriate based on your contact's level of motivation. Okay? Super. What else did our lovely marketing department create? Well, they have Client for Life and the Homeowner. You know and love these ones too. These were ones that you had in Smart Studio. Right now you're still using them from Studio, but soon they will be ready to go in Sphere. And like the other ones, these are ones that you will manually apply to your contacts. And they're all professionally designed as well as editable. I believe I forgot to say that about the buyer and seller pieces. Those ones as well as these ones are editable, okay? And we highly recommend that you do edit things to personalize because it's always better. Okay, lead nurturing. Now this is my thing, right? Because you guys know that I am all about the leads. So we have the RLP Open House app lead. So this goes with the Sphere KV Core Open House app that we have Royal LePageized for you guys to use. So this one will be automatically applied to your Royal LePage Open House app leads when you turn it on. So it's all set to be automatically applied. I've created it and it's all ready to go, but you're going to be the one that turns it on when you want to use it. Okay, so who are the people who are going to be this recipients of this campaign? They're going to be people who sign into your Open House app. And well, what does this contain? It contains 20 touches. So it includes automatic texts and emails from the system. So these are things that you don't have to do anything about. The system sends out these messages to your contacts. It also includes tasks for you. So phone calls for you to make to these people, tasks to set them up on search alerts. And this campaign lasts for a little over 110 days, okay? And yeah, so check that one out. Brett will show you where you can find it in the system in a moment.
Hey, Steph, just checking, I'm making sure we're on the right screen. Just someone had just commented that maybe it might be frozen, or we're on lead nurturing. Is that the screen?
Yeah, the RLP Open House app lead. Maybe
Beautiful.
Their screen is
then
frozen.
You're good. All right.
Okay, good. I'm going to change
admin,
screens.
We're all good. Thanks,
Let
Stephanie.
me know if you see it change.
Sure. There we go. You're good.
All right.
Good.
Okay, good.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, next is the other lead nurturing campaigns that we've created, and this is the one that we're going to go a little deeper into detail about, because this is the one that I'm sure a lot of people are curious about. And these are the ones that we've created to pair with your smart leads. So quick reminder about smart leads. There's two kinds of leads, designated and distributed. Everyone's eligible to get designated because they're from your own listings and your agent contact page. Distributed come from competitor listing leads on rlpSPHERE. Okay, so what is happening with these plans? Well, we've created 12 campaigns based on the lead type, okay? These ones will be automatically, oh, I'm seeing a lot of people saying that there's something going on with my screen. One moment. Oh, now it's changed. Okay, there is a lag. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, going on about
Hey, it wouldn't be a fun presentation if something didn't go sideways. So it's all good.
Well,
Thanks for your understanding, everyone.
I think because we just have so many people on this session, we have over 400 people, and I love, yeah, you guys are paying attention, so love it. Okay, going on about the campaigns for your smart leads. So as I mentioned, we created 12 campaigns based on lead type. So distributed listing, general inquiry, then there's a distributed showing request, et cetera, et cetera. And when you go in, you can poke around and have a look at these different ones. But what you want to know, well, starting on June 23, these are going to be automatically turned on and start firing off for your distributed leads. Okay, let me make that very clear. Distributed leads, not designated. You can turn on the ones for your designated, but we're going to turn on the distributed ones for you. All right. So what does that mean? Well, it means we're going to help you close those leads. Now, no, you can turn these off. So just like I talked about those other ones that we're turning on, you can turn them off. I don't recommend you turn them off because they're awesome. Now, if you want to understand more about if your company is deciding to remain using those campaigns, if they want to mandate anything, I want you to talk to your broker, your lead manager, okay? Because I know you all have one if you're working with the distributed leads. And it's important that you engage with them and you chat with them about what their plan is for the brokerage. But by default, everyone who's receiving distributed leads via smart leads, and a distributed lead for clarification is a competitor lead, a lead from a competitor listing on rlpSPHERE, also known as a DDF listing. Those campaigns will be turned on. Okay. What else is cool about these campaigns? You could apply them to other leads that you have. And, we'll show you how to do that in the next session that we do. We don't want to bog you down with too much information by today. But I do want you to know that you can easily replicate campaigns and use them for other lead sources, and why not? Because they're awesome. Let's see, they last 6 months. All these campaigns last 6 months because you get 6 months worth of castle consent to reach out to people. So we want to maximize it. Okay, so let's just get into the meat of things, right? And also, yeah?
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt you there because we've had quite a few questions around the difference between a designated lead and a distributed lead, and what is an IROC?
Oh yeah, okay, so let's get into some, a little more. An IROC is a car from the 80s. So a distributed lead is a lead from a competitor listing on RoyalLePage.ca. So the Remax, Century 21, all those people who are participating in DDF, we have their listings on our site. And some offices are able to participate in the distributed leads program of smart leads because DDF is available in their area. Okay, so that's distributed. Designated leads are leads that are from your own listing. So they're leads from your own listing as well as your agent contact page. IROC is a lead from a property not currently for sale, but hosted on rlpage.ca. All right. So you guys are probably wondering, well, tell me more about what's in these actual campaigns. So, you know, here's a screenshot, and I know it's small, but I just want to show you how nice it looks. You don't need to know all the words, really. But this is the example of the immediate email that your leads are going to get if they didn't include a phone number, because the campaigns are a combination of text and email. If your lead includes a phone number, if there's no phone number, it is email only. Now, one thing I do want you to note, very important here, is your signature. Okay, so the signature down here, this is a signature that you create in the system in your profile. It is absolutely crucial that you create your signature, because all the plans that we've created include the signature that you've made. So if you haven't made a signature, your automatic emails from the system will not have one. Okay, so make sure you do it. And okay, here's an example of a text message that goes out from the system. So it looks really great. I'm not a real agent, so I don't have a title or a real brokerage, but in a real one, it would have a title as well as a brokerage. Okay, so here's a summary, you know, because I showed you a little taste, but here's a summary of what is going on in the campaigns, just to give you an idea. Okay, so I mentioned before there's 12 campaigns. The content is virtually identical, except for a few words here and there in some of the messaging. Okay, so what do we see here? We can see that the touches are more frequent early, right? So we do more touches in the first week, daily, really. The second week is when your lead is going to be receiving the listing alert emails that you set them up on. Okay, note that there's a little star, those are tasks for you to do. And so on and so on. So when you look at this, I want you to note what has a star beside it. There's 3 things out of all these touches. So there's only 3 things for you to do. The rest of the system is doing it for you. Okay, so what happens after day 20? Well, the system keeps reaching out to your lead, you know, trying to elicit a response. That's the point of these campaigns, is you just want a response, okay? And then the system is designed so that when your lead replies, the campaign stops. They don't get these messages anymore because you're engaging with them, okay? And yeah. Now, if the person never replies after 179 days, which is just short of 6 months, the system will automatically change their status from new lead to archive and removes cancel consent. All right? Super. Quick stuff about the app and campaigns, right? What you can and cannot do. You can't add or remove campaigns from the app, but you can use templates from like templates that you've created in the system to schedule and send mass emails. So that's really, really awesome. But I just want you to be aware that you can't really do anything with campaigns in the app. The app is not meant for stuff like that. Okay, so now that you know some basics about a smart campaign, you have an idea of what they've created, what we've created for you. Let's get into some more specific details. Okay. So as mentioned before, the campaigns consist of settings and actions, and templates are actions. Templates are pre-written messages or reminders for tasks or calls that can be scheduled to send in a campaign within your campaign actions. Templates are the building blocks of smart campaigns, and you really need to have templates created before you can create or edit a campaign. Now you can access the templates available to you at any time by clicking in the templates section under Marketing Autopilot. To find the Royal LePage created ones, just look for the ones with RLP on first, because these ones are CASL compliant, and by that I mean they have unsubscribe mechanism. It's just a little line that says click here to unsubscribe. It's nothing ugly or whatever, but it's clear that that's what it is. Yeah, so make sure that when you go through the templates, you use the RLP ones if you want to use them. KV Core ones are awesome. You can use them for ideas, but they're potentially not CASL compliant. So beware. Okay. So when you start looking at campaigns, you're going to see some things, and you might be wondering what these different icons and stuff mean. So let me break it down a bit. You will see potentially a padlock. Okay. So once you've gotten to the point where you've created a campaign for yourself, there won't be any padlocks, but you're going to see padlocks on campaigns that have been created by Royal LePage Canada, as well as ones created for you by your brokerage. Now, if you see one with a closed padlock, it's because Royal LePage Canada or your brokerage has mandated it. And what that means is when it's turned on, it will be on. So when it's mandated, you can't remove it, you can't pause it, you can't stop it. It's basically, it's happening. Now, the only one that Royal LePage Canada is mandating is one that you can see there in that little screenshot, and that's called a contact transfer notification, because really it's just one that we've created for the system to notify you if someone transfers a contact to you. So everything else that you're going to see will have open padlocks that Royal LePage Canada has created for you. Now, things might look a little weird now, as I mentioned before, because we're still in the process. We're still transitioning and pulling over info. So you may see some that are locked right now that are made by Royal LePage Canada, but that's going to switch once we do the next update level, okay? We're still in the transitional process. Okay, so there we go. Okay, let's see, what else do we have in there? Well, the name, description, that's easy. Start triggers. Okay, so start triggers are used when you want the plans to be automatically applied by the system instead of you having to manually apply it. So, you know, you can use things like when the lead is new, when a lead is transferred, when it's assigned a hashtag. You can do advanced triggers, fancy things like the source, or if it has a phone number. And if you don't want a campaign to be automatically applied, you just don't include any start triggers, and then that'll be a manual one. All right, going along the line, when you're looking at campaigns, you're going to see the target audience. You'll see it says the channels, that's the kind of actions, right? So what's in there, what kind of touches and stuff, how many touches, always run, and then the status. So I'm going to talk about the status. Status is easy, off or on. When it's gray like that, it's off. When it's red, it's on. I want you to note one interesting thing about off or on is it needs to be turned on for you to apply it to a contact. So I've encountered a few people who have been testing stuff, and they try to put a campaign onto a contact, but it's just not, there's a little drop-down box, and Brett will show you. But it won't be in that drop-down box unless you turn it on, okay? So that's the first place to check if you're having that problem. Now, always run. So this is when you would select whether or not you want this campaign to always be assigned on top of other campaigns if the assignment criteria is met. Okay, so warning, don't do it, because if you do that, if you say yes, what this means is you have the potential for multiple emails or texts being sent to the same contact, okay? So use extreme caution if you think you may wish to do always run, but really there's no reason to do it. Brett, can you explain this a little better, because you're a little more eloquent with the always run thing than I am.
Oh, well, thank you. I just say no, everyone.
Just say no.
I mean, seriously, I've seen people run into problems with this. If you are not 100% on what this means, turn it off. I know it seems like, of course, I'm turning it on, the status, and then you're thinking, well, yeah, I turned it on. Of course I want it to always run. And what this really is meaning that if you have applied logic to other campaigns automatically applying, that one's going to run no matter what, and it can get you into trouble. I've seen more than one campaign attached to a lead because someone had always run on. There are instances that it can be appropriate. So to me, I say, hey, if you have any doubt and any hesitation, just don't. It's going to still work and still run as long as you turn the status to on. So that's about as eloquent as I could get, I guess.
That's wonderful. And I want to add to that, the instinct to turn it on, to always run. Yeah, it's powerful, but you need to trust that the system will naturally pick the best plan and apply it. So let me illustrate what we mean by that, okay? So about campaign specificity. So we have always run set off in this example. So, here's an example of the RLP created campaign for a new lead buyer source distributed listing. So these are really, really specific triggers, right? And then the agent says, you know what, I'm going to create a campaign, and I'm going to create a campaign for just new leads, just a general new lead campaign. Then the agent gets a little more creative and says, well, I'm going to create a second campaign for my new buyer leads. And the agent turns on all three of these campaigns, the RLP one, and there are two that they created. Now, Stephanie Gellman, the lead, becomes a distributed lead to Brett, the agent. Now, Brett has these three plans, and we don't have always run off. Stephanie, the lead, is going to be receiving the RLP created campaign. It will kind of override the other two because it's more specific with the criteria, the triggers, okay? Now, let me show you the next slide before because I know it's a little weird, but when you see this is what I mean. Because if in this scenario, if Brett, the agent, had always run turned on for the two campaigns that they made, Stephanie, the lead, would be receiving messages from three campaigns. And Stephanie, the lead, will probably get really darn annoyed with Brett, the agent, if that happens. So long story short, don't do always run unless you are 100% certain you need to do it, but really you don't need to do it because the system is so smart, it will pick the right campaign for your leads and contacts. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to Brett now. He's going to jump in the system. He's going to show you where you can find these awesome campaigns. So he's going to show you how to view the content, the templates, how to put them onto your contacts, how to remove them from contacts, how to put them on a bunch of contacts at once, how to remove them at once, and also how to pause them. Yeah, so all right, over to you.
Okay. Then let's do this. Forgive me, I was trying to answer some questions for you folks. So bear with me here. Sorry. Here we go. We're here. We're all rlpSPHERE on our main dashboard. Let's navigate to our marketing autopilot. Marketing autopilot. That's where we're going to find all the fun with smart campaigns. But even before you do that, there's this one thing I'd like you maybe to think about. If you have imported leads into your system, there's two ways to think about or smart campaigns, and I'm going to show you that here in a sec. So I'm going to go ahead and start a campaign, and once I get here, it's divided into two: the KV Core library and the My Library, like Stephanie's been explaining. I know some of these aren't in there for you. Some of you folks out there, you should be seeing the RLP. We're working on it. Thank you for your patience if you don't see them. This is a known issue for some folks. Some folks have them, some folks don't. So sorry about that, and we're getting it worked out as fast as we can. And remember, on the far right is where we first want to eyeball the status. It's red, it's on; it's gray, left, it's off. There's only 10 per page, so note that you're going to have multiple pages in the bottom right-hand corner. Grab my pointer here. Bear with me. Here we go. So where do you find them? How do you preview content? And how do you apply them manually to an individual contact and in mass? That's all we're going over today. I know that you're going to have more questions, and I've been fielding some questions from some of you folks that aren't related to smart campaigns. I'd ask, hey, this is a big one, smart campaigns, so I would encourage you to, in the nicest possible way, pay attention to this so you'll get it, and then we can forget about it and you can get back to doing what you do. But the Agent Success Plan will answer most of the questions I'm seeing in there that I've answered. So just an FYI. So back to smart campaigns. How do I turn them on? Which ones do I need? What does all this stuff mean? And as Stephanie's been explaining, a lot of these are for leads that come from the rlpage.ca website. The 23rd is our magic date for a lot of the switch off, but you're going to have to decide on a couple things. One, what you're going to turn on for your website, and just how to apply these to leads you might already have in your system. Because just because I come here on this RLP Seller Marketing 30-day campaign and I toggle it on right here and it tells me, yes, this, are you sure? This will allow all future actions to run for any lead assigned to this campaign. That means from this moment forward, this does not retroactively go back for your sellers. You're going to have to go find those and attach them. So let's first peek in here and see how to preview the content. We're not talking about editing the content today. Stephanie mentioned we're going to have a more advanced class, I believe, and we're going to go into how to edit. Folks, that can be too much for a lot of us initially to say, as soon as we have this, we built all this default content for you, but now you want to go ahead and just change it immediately. Remember what we talked about, the compliancy for the Canadian anti-spam laws? These things have been vetted. You go and change them. Well, you know, that's on you. We will show you how, is my point. So I know some of you are already asking, you're going to see and say, I want to tweak this, I want to change it. You can, right? Just hang tight. And let's just take a look on how to look at it and how to apply it, okay? And how to turn it on. You saw how to turn it on. It's as simple as just toggling it over and saying, yes, now it's turned on. Once you have activated it, the status over here on the far right, you'll be confirmed that it's been updated. But your takeaway here is, even though you have 30+ campaigns in here, they're not available to apply to anyone if they're not turned on. So even though you'll say, hey, he showed that buyer marketing sell was 60 days, but when I tried to add it to an individual lead, I didn't see it. You got to turn it on first. So let's dig in. Let's go ahead and take a peek at one of these campaigns. I'm going to click on the campaign name, knowing that as I hover over this, it's preceded with that RLP, which I know as a Royal LePage agent now that this has been vetted for me. I'm going to dissuade you all. I gotta tell you, I'm kind of tiptoeing around this, but up above in our Core library, we have 23 default campaigns. Think of these as just American campaigns that have not been Canadianized. And yes, you can look at them for reference, but at this point, I'm recommending you not to even take a peek. All it's going to do is, I don't want to say confuse you, but it's just going to make it more difficult to learn this. They're already built for you. Start with these, okay? You won't get into trouble. So I'm going to click on the campaign's name. And let me preface this as well. Last time I was on with a few of you on a different class, you didn't have a preview button here that's on the far right-hand side. Hopefully you all do right now. Let's remember, far right-hand side, that the recommended browser is Google Chrome. If you're having any issues, you're a Safari user, that's probably it. Possibly it anyway. Okay, so you're going to have to use Chrome for rlpSPHERE. I like Mac too, but for rlpSPHERE, for my KB Core, I use Google Chrome. So all you have to do is, I can see and how to read this. As Stephanie was saying, we have these actions that are contained in this campaign. Each one of these are templates that are already built for you. So at this point, no, you can't edit them from here, and that's not what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about how to turn them on, how to apply them, and how to preview them, okay? So if I wanted to see in hour one, after I applied this to a lead, which is very key because this one I chose, and I did this one on purpose, it has no start triggers defined. That means it's not going to automatically apply to anything ever, okay? The only way that's going to ever apply, even when I turned it on, is if I manually attach it, and that is by design. Because I know a lot of you, I don't want anything going out to my leads without my say-so and my okay and all that, and we get that. This can be changed later, but that's going to be more advanced, right? The two campaigns that aren't related to, or two types of campaigns that aren't related to the Royal LePage website are the seller marketing and buyer marketing that have been created for you in 30, 60, 90, and 120 days. I recommend all of you to look at those, to think about your personal website and the type of follow-up you want for those types of leads. Prospects, new leads, are they sellers, are they buyers? Okay? But for today, if I wanted to preview the very first message for the 30-day preparing, I can see that the method's an email. Okay, it's going from me, the agent, it's going to the contact. Okay, I click on preview. So once again, if you can't see this, we're working on it. If you are using Google Chrome and you don't see that preview button, there's a few of you. This is a very high priority. If it's not already resolved, stand by, okay? So appreciate your patience. But you can preview this, and that's what it looks like. Look how pretty that is. All right, I can tell you this. All of our default campaigns don't look like this. They don't have these pretty pictures in here. We do have some other templates, but out of the box like this is beautiful. So you can read it, see what's going. You'll be branded. It's going to be pulling all your information that you've set up on your profile. And that's it. That's how simple it is to preview. Now, you see the clone button. I know you're tempted and you want to ask about it. This is only when we want to edit. And friends, we do not want to edit now. We're keeping this one simple. This is just how to turn them on. Where do you find them? And how do I apply them to my leads? So your first step is to turn on the ones that are appropriate. Now, when we hit that 23rd date, when I know your questions about distributed lead, designated lead, what is IROC? These are leads coming from the main, rlpage.ca website. So you should flip all those on, unless you don't want to follow up with your leads. If that's part of your agreement with the company and you're getting leads from them, then there's no reason in the world why you shouldn't turn these on. They'll only apply when they come from those sources. But for your website and your different types of clients, they're a buyer seller, they're a client contract, they're a prospect, you're going to need to decide what to do with those. Right? So take a peek through here. I see seller marketing. That's one I'd recommend. Okay, I'm going to go to page 2. These look like these are almost all the ones coming from the Royal LePage website, with the exception of this open house app lead. Let's keep on looking. Hey, contract renter, these are ones that are going to be for you in the sense of your leads that you can apply. Now, these are a little different, if you'll notice that the status is contract. Remember on that seller marketing, it said no start trigger defined, and that's also by design. So you're going to need to decide to do that. And we'll get into that. But for now, you're just going to apply those manually. You add some leads that you have in contract status, or you change them to contract status, then this will apply. Okay, that's how this is designed to work. Contract renter, contract buyer, client seller, client renter. So that's how you're going to interpret it. You might say, okay, well, you're going to have some clients, even if you don't right now. So as soon as you give them the client status, if you want this to automatically attach, all you got to do is toggle it on. Then from then on out, anytime you add a lead as a client, or I move a lead from, let's say they're a prospect, and then I reach out to them, they become active, right? And then I get them to sign some paperwork, or I'm showing them properties. Now they're my client. As soon as you moved them from prospect to client, this would automatically attach as long as we had it turned on. Okay, that makes sense, everyone? And the exceptions that I want you all to just think about are very simple. They're going to be your buyer and your seller marketing, where we have no start triggers defined. That means that's something you're going to have to figure out to do. It's super easy when we get there, just to decide, hey, this is going to be a new lead, it's a buyer, on, done, okay? But for now, I want you to manually think about all these things based on the type of leads you have in your system. So this is how you turn them on. Once again, to preview, you hit the campaign name, and there's a preview button. And like I said, with sincere apologies, you don't see that yet. That is happening very, very soon, but the campaign, my understanding, will still work, even though you can't see the preview, okay? And the emails will still work. Okay, so that's our step 1. Click on the campaign name, review it. Makes sense, you say, yep, this is what I want, you turn it on. That means it's from this moment forward. Okay, does not retroactively apply. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and navigate to my Smart CRM. I can certainly try, Edmund. Forgive me, like Stephanie, it's almost darn near impossible to see the chat and the Q&A and run your presentation, but I will make that a little bigger. How's that? Hopefully that's a little better for you. I just collapsed the side as well. Okay, so here I am. I'm in my Smart CRM, and if you're wondering how I got here, you just navigate to the second from the top on the left-hand side, hit your Smart CRM. Right, so in mass, I can attach campaign, to all these leads. But now that you're starting to see, there's going to be a different campaign for a new lead buyer than there'd be for a prospect buyer, than there'd be for a client, than there'd be for a sphere. So your job is going to need to filter and get them in the same category, status, and type to manually attach a campaign. But before we do that, let's do it individually. Let me find my little test lead here. Right. Now, when you have your test lead up like this, to manually attach a campaign, you come over to the left-hand side. Notice how I have these green check marks. Far left-hand side, everyone, green check marks. I have green check mark search alerts, green check mark campaigns, green check mark reports, and a listing traffic report. Now, let's pretend I don't have this one. Just for a minute. I'm going to remove it because this is what it would look like if you wanted to add it. If I wanted to add the campaign, I'd have this little red circle. So if I wanted to give this guy, the client, follow-up campaign, all I'd have to do is click Add Campaign. I'd click in the Choose Campaign field, and I'd choose the one I want. And if you don't see the one you want, you didn't turn it on. Okay, you didn't turn it on. So you saw me turn on that client. Now this is a seller. I'll go ahead and apply that one. So I'm going to do the RLP Client Seller Weekly Check-in. I'm going to add it. I'm going to see a check mark. And then it's going to also confirm that in the leads timeline. So that is how you individually add a campaign to a lead. Now, when I go back to my Smart CRM, I'm going to go to Filter, because this is a way that you can kind of see what you have and what you don't have. Because I know there's leads coming over from Smart Studio, right? Some of you may have them. Some of you are in the process of moving. You're going to, after you complete the Agent Success Plan, hopefully all of you are familiar with that in RLP Campus, we teach you how to import your own leads that aren't Smart Studio on your own terms using our service. Once those are in, well, we need to get them a campaign follow-up in addition to giving them a mass email and mass text. So what we can do is I can filter. Let's say, for example, show me all my prospects that are buyers. I'm going to come down to my behavior filter. I'm going to select it, that do not have a running campaign. Because remember, I'm going to make this clear again, when we turned that campaign on over here in the Smart Campaign library, that does not retroactively jump over to here and then attach leads. No, you have to decide to do that. So I would say, okay, apply that filter. So now you see I have the same status and type. Right? It looks like I have 1 to 20 of 1,200 leads. These are all prospect. Okay. Remember that you can increase your rows to 50, to 100. So if I wanted to apply 100 campaigns at a time to my prospect buyer or prospect seller, you would go through that process each time. Meaning if I wanted to do the prospect seller campaign, then I'd filter prospect. I'd come down here and recheck the box for seller. Then I'd come down to behavior, and then I'd say, show me who doesn't have one. I apply the filter. I select the far left row column. I click more actions, everyone. More actions in the very center. More actions. And you're going to find amongst many other fun things you can do in mass, tasks, status in mass, delete, but I can also add campaigns. So if I click add campaign, this is just telling me some of these are private and I can't because I'm logged as an administrator. So if any of you are administrators, admins, and you see something like private lead, that means that it's an agent's lead and you can't see it and you can't email it and you can't text it. Only the agent can. So that's all this is telling me right now. Half of those are. So once that comes up, then I can select what campaign I want to attach in mass to those 100 leads. And if I don't see, once again, what I want, like I don't see a prospect, well, then maybe we need to go find one and turn it on. Does that make sense, everyone? You come back here. I don't even know if we have prospect campaigns in here. I don't know if you call them that, but maybe we'll call that a new lead buyer. I see contracts. There's active.
Yeah, I would definitely use the new lead buyer.
Okay.
Right, for a prospect, definitely.
There you go, folks. Right from the source. So for that one, I would put on those buyer marketing. So in that example, I would say, okay, I would go more actions. I would go, but where is it? Add campaign. Then I would just select one of those buyer marketing that You know, as Stephanie and I were chatting, I was trying to understand, based on your contact with them, which one of these is more appropriate. You know, maybe you didn't talk with them, you don't want to scare them off, so you only put on a short 30-day, or they say, you know, it's going to be a while, and, you know, please check in with me, or whatever the case may be. That's how you're going to make that decision. So let's say for that one, I said, I'm going to do this one for 2 months. I'm going to go ahead and add that campaign. And that's how you do it. Easy stuff. So think about it. Once again, we go to Marketing Autopilot to find where they're all at. I then click on Smart Campaigns, start a campaign. The default library that we don't need to pay attention to as Royal LePage agents will be collapsed. I know you're going to be tempted. And once again, go ahead and click in there. Just be careful and don't do it. You already have in your library. And look, just as you noticed, mine takes a minute to load. And that might have happened to some of you too. I have a pretty fast connection, but there's 43 campaigns in there. So just give it a sec to load everything up for you. And that might be the issue. And then if you didn't find the one you wanted, go turn them on. I'm going to actually turn on this 120-day one too. I want those on. And I think for all of you, I would recommend, Stephanie, correct me if you think I'm wrong here, I would take a look at it, turn all these buyer marketing on too, because if you don't turn them on, you can't select them.
100%
Right?
agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you don't, and as we mentioned before, when there are no start triggers created, these are ones that will only be manually applied. So I know some people are nervous about things going out without, you know, them being aware that they activated something. These ones specifically, these 30 to 120 days, the marketing pieces, those are, yeah, manual applications. So absolutely turn them on so they're available for your use.
Excellent. Well said. And folks, another way to think too, thanks, Stephanie. I'm going to look at my little test lead here once again. And I know I've seen a couple questions about there. Let me clear these filters. The campaign stopping, and ours actually do in a couple instances, but that's a little more advanced. Today, I'm keeping it simple for all of this. There's a lot of us out there, and I know we're going to have different levels of understanding and, you know, comfort with this. So right now, we know where to find them, how to preview the content. We also wanted to see how to preview the templates. Do you want me to go down that? I don't know if we have enough time for that. I'm thinking,
You know, I
Stephanie,
don't think we have enough time. We have
okay.
5 minutes left. And, you know, I can stick around a little bit longer, but I know that you have a hard stop. So I think we need to wrap up. We've showed people where they can view the campaigns. So you guys know where they are. And, you know, the templates are right next to the campaign. So really, we don't really need to get in there and show you that. You can figure that one out and click and have a look. So Brett,
Yes.
Let's see if I can figure out how to share my screen again. This is where
Oh, sure. Yeah. I believe you can just go ahead and do it, and it's basically going to tell you that that guy is going to get his taken away. But before you do, let me show you one thing, everyone. If you're, now we showed you how to attach the campaign. I'm up in the upper right. If you click over the campaign that you do have enabled and you hit that little pencil icon at any time, you can remove it, you can pause it, and you can restart it if it has been paused. And up above in the center, my center timeline, if you want to see what's going out in the future, just click that and it'll drop and tell you everything that's going to be happening in the future for you. Okay, so you can see what's going out in the future of that campaign. I can pause it if I need to, and then I can always restart it right where it left off or remove it completely. So there you go, Stephanie, and
Perfect.
I'll stop sharing here.
Love it. All right, let's see now. Do we see my screen?
Yes, helping you is what we do, is what I see.
Oh no, you just see my little picture. All right, one moment here. I'll come back on camera and see if I can figure out where my screen share buttons are. That is where I always have my challenge. I had this challenge last time and I had to get you to do it for me, Brett. Remember that? That's why I sent you the slides.
Oh, I do have them. I need them.
I might need
that.
My buttons always disappear on me for some crazy reason.
Okay, but bear with me, everyone. Sorry, I was a little, I think we're on this one right here.
We are on, yes, perfect.
Okay.
Love it. Okay, so first of all, I want to remind people, throw your questions in the Q&A, okay, not the chat. Put them in the Q&A. I see a couple in there in the Q&A that we'll get to. Assignments. Actually, we'll get to this after. let's jump into Q&A because I want to use Brett while he's
Okay.
here, right?
Gotcha.
Let's not make people wait anymore. So
Okay.
let's have a look at what we have in the Q&A. So we have one question here. For testing purposes, can I make 5 new emails and use the same cell number, mine? Now that question's not 100% clear what they mean, but I do know for a fact that you cannot use your cell number for testing purposes. And this is, I learned this because if you, as an agent, you're in the system and your cell number's in the system, if you try to put yourself in as like a fake lead with your work cell number, the system will know that you're an agent and it'll tell you to install the app, right? You get this message saying, what are you doing, agent? Install the app to use the text. So if you want to do testing, specifically with the text stuff, you're going to have to use a different cell number that is not one that's in the system.
Yep. And in addition to that, friends, I'm going to put into the the chat bot, if I can find it here, an article on how to test it. You folks need to be very careful about this. And why can I not? Bear with me here, folks. I'm not seeing. There it is. I'm putting this in the chat. Here's the link. You don't need to test it more than twice. You could get in trouble with your phone carrier because when you're creating text codes or you don't believe us that that's the way it's supposed to work and you want to test and see it. I know it's fun. You should test it, but let's also keep in mind this. Okay,
I think it's more like people want to see how things look in text format when they mean testing. At least I know myself. That's something that's very important for me. So I've done that for you guys a billion times with all the text templates that I've made. But yeah, feel free to, maybe have one of your friends be a guinea pig for you and sign them up on the campaign. I hope that's what you meant, Edmund, in your question. Now, this is a good question. Is that a good idea that we turn all campaigns on? What do you think, Brett? Is it a good idea to turn on all the campaigns or just some?
You know what? Gosh, that's a big question. I think it's going to be different for everyone. I would say, are you ready to get in contact and have your phone start being called and have emails and texts being responded to? Because that's what's going to happen, in fact. So in a nice way, I say, are you ready? Is number one, because I will see and hear about people getting overwhelmed that, oh, I didn't know this was going to happen and I want to turn them all off, and they start panicking. So number one thing I would say, are you ready? Number two, then I would say, for the most part, yes, I think you should turn on all the campaigns when you're ready for, if you do receive leads from the main website. There's no reason in the world why you shouldn't turn them on for your contract, your client. Just be aware now, and after you've been in this session, that there are messages that are going to be going out once you attach those campaigns. So as long as you're cool with that, then I'm cool with you turning them all on, and I'll feel good advising you as such. If you have any hesitation, you're not comfortable, I'm definitely, when in doubt, don't yet. You can turn them on later. So because I don't want you being overwhelmed, because those campaigns also include tasks and calls for you. So your daily calls are going to all of a sudden start stacking. If you're not ready to work in 3 days, you're going to be 30 calls down. It'll say past due, potentially. And then you're not going to always have 10 calls per day, but I'm saying you could. And if you're ready, then I would say, heck yeah, let's go for it. If you're not, then let's stand back and let's wait until we are, hopefully sooner rather than later. So
yeah, okay, so I think that's a great point. Take it slow. Now, I do want you guys to know that most of the campaigns that we've created are for new leads. So they're going to be applied to new leads going forward. So you're not going to have all this back tasks to do, and unless you expect a flood of leads, which I hope you get, but realistically you're not going to get a flood of them flying in at a time. We're going to turn on, okay, on the 23rd, we Royal LePage Canada are turning on all the plans for the distributed leads. So when you go in and you have a look, and you'll see the triggers, you'll see some of the triggers are distributed. We're turning those on. Okay, but I strongly recommend that you turn them on for your designated ones because, as Brett said, it's going to get responses, right? You're going to get more business. So, so I say do it. And as we said before, you don't run the risk of multiple campaigns going to multiple leads because of the way they've been created, and we haven't done that always run thing. So
right.
as long as you're ready to reply to people, you're set. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Stephanie, I'm so sorry for
I see your
interrupting.
time. Yeah.
Right, but I see 3 questions that I think I can answer in a minute.
Okay, do
Okay,
it.
so
Yeah,
the
I love
first
it.
one from Scott, if you set up a 30-day campaign, will the system let you know when they are done? No. In case you want to keep it going, you would reapply then, and to think about it, that one's only for 30 days. So maybe you think about, if that's what you're thinking already, maybe you should put on the 60-day and check in 30 days, set yourself a task to see if you do need, did they talk to you? Are they actively shopping? Should you turn it off? Should you continue? So no, you won't get notified. When you go through our agent success plan, which is where I got to go to right now for my week 3 class that I'm teaching for you folks, is that we do a daily check out our leads on what's going on. Have they replied? Should I turn off the campaign? You know, have they responded? So that would be the answer for that. Tracy, can I add a pre-made signature to the signature? Yes, that is set up in your profile. However, you only have your about me, your actual signature, and the photo that you can do from within rlpSPHERE. Everything else through RLP Network, right? But yes, you can put that signature in the emails that come from the system. Almost always, not always, have your signature included, but there will be links to you. Let's see if I can answer one more. Agent logo. Helen, hopefully today, I mean, don't hold me to that on the preview, because I know you folks have been patient, and it's been, I think, 4 or 5 days, and I know it's a big deal. So I do a stand-up on behalf of you folks there at Royal LePage, and I'm going to mention it again to my dev team. And folks, I'm so sorry. I have to get out of here,
Go.
Stephanie.
No
but
worries. I know you feel such a sense of obligation. I'm here. I got people's back.
Great.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Brett. You are fabulous.
Take care, everybody.
And guys, yeah. So everyone, I'm sticking around. So
all right. Talk soon, Stephanie. Thank you. Take care, Kelly.
Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let me go through these Q&A questions. I see that there's quite a few here. So I'm just going to start with the earliest. Wayne asks, can you create a column for castle compliance to indicate when consent is revoked? So yeah, in the KV Core system, and I'm not sure if you noticed when Brett was showing how to do mass applications of contacts, and he did the filter. One of the filters in there is actually one where you can filter out people who have unsubscribed. So I hope that helps. Okay, let's see. The next question, if you toggle on a campaign, import your leads, the campaign does not automatically attach to those contacts. I would have to go through my imported leads in my CRM and individually attach a campaign. Yeah, so it depends on the order of things, right? So when you turn on a campaign, it only works on stuff going forward. Now, whether it will be activated if you import leads, I don't know for sure, Caitlin. So I am just going to note your question as one that my gut tells me that if you import the leads after you turn on the campaign, it should attach to those contacts if the start triggers match. But I'm not sure about the whole importing thing. So I see your name and I'm going to note your question. I'll send you a follow-up email. Okay, let's see here. We already answered that one. Okay, the phone, I don't want to test on my family because I won't know what they would get. So yeah, so okay, about the test. Yeah, I mean, you can test, like I said, you can do whatever you want for testing, just you can't use the cell phone that is yours in the system because the system knows that you're an agent with a cell phone recorded there. So if you have 2 phones, you could use your other one for testing. Okay, let's see. Next, somebody, oh, I like this. This is a short one. What does it mean by phone empty? So you're probably looking at one of my start triggers and you're wondering, well, what does that mean by phone empty? That is if a lead completes a form with their email only. So on rlpSPHERE, we ask for 3 things of a lead. There's their name and their email, and those are mandatory. And then a phone number is optional. So we've created plans for leads that include a phone number because they're going to get a text message as well several text messages as well as emails. And ones that do not include a phone number will get the email only campaign. So Gwen, that is what it means by phone empty. Okay, I see there's a question about how to create feature sheets and flyers in rlpSPHERE. I'm gonna have to direct you back to the agent success plan and other resources for that one. Len. Okay, my Smart Studio leads have not been migrated over. Who do I contact to find out why? We're still working on it. There's been a few hiccups. It's moving along. But if you're really, really concerned, Brian, you can reach out to customer care, 877-757-4545 or help@royallepage.ca. And they can give you updates on when they think that should be done. All right. Okay. Oh my goodness, so many questions. Okay, let me see. Does the system notify you at the end of 30 days, 60, 90 campaign, or do you need to keep track of that somewhere else? Yeah, you need to keep track of it. But as Brett showed you when he was showing you, when you look at your contact and you look at the future touches coming up, you can see that. But yeah, you're gonna have to keep track of it unless you do some fancy editing to make it notify you. And that's something we could show you on the next session, all right? When will the preview be available? As soon as IT fixes it, all right. Will you still get leads even if the campaigns are not turned on? Absolutely, campaigns are just going to help you nurture your leads, but unless your brokerage is mandating the use of campaigns, you will still get leads, whether your campaigns are turned on or not. Okay, I'm going to have to wrap this up soon, guys. So let me just get to, okay, so you've seen my to-dos for now. Okay. Biggest takeaway from this is you don't need to do anything. You don't need to edit anything. Our plans are optimized, okay, guys? So really, I hope you can just trust us and enjoy them because they're great. Talk to your broker manager about the campaigns because they can create campaigns as well and make them available to you. So maybe they've made something awesome for your use, okay? Now, if you're really itching to do something, if you can't wait till my next session about how to create or edit, start making some drafts, okay? Make stuff in Google Sheets, Excel, outline it, okay? Create an outline because if you do an outline, it's gonna help you so much when you actually go to create a plan in the system. So create an outline, look at it, evaluate it, okay? And start small. If you're gonna edit existing campaigns, I quite frankly want you to edit and personalize the campaigns that I've created in time. Okay, maybe not right away, but in time, edit and personalize them because they're going to be 1,000 times better if you make them your own. Okay, next step. So if you have not done it yet, please do your agent success plan because some of the questions that came up in this session are questions that are answered through the learning services training that they've created. They've worked really hard. They've made all kinds of awesome training for you. So please take advantage of what they have available. If you're in rlpSPHERE and you see something funny or something's missing, you're having some technical issues, then reach out to KV Core. You can do the little chat. They have a little chat guy on the bottom right-hand corner of the system. And or you can email them. So yeah, I'm gonna take one. I don't even know if I can take another look in here, except for yeah. I mean, really, I think you guys can figure out all the stuff. I'm sending you a copy of this presentation, so you're gonna see my slides. I'm gonna give you a copy of my slides. I'm also gonna email you a copy of the recording. It's going to be on my YouTube page. I'll put it up there. You're going to get all this stuff tomorrow. And really, if you have questions about the smart campaigns, really, you need to talk to your manager because they're the ones that are really going to be steering the ship in terms of helping you use what Royal LePage Canada has created for you. So thank you so much, guys. I'm sorry I couldn't get to all your questions, but there was a lot, okay? So have a wonderful, wonderful day. Yeah.